Okay, so everybody wants to know. First of all, let me make sure I can hear y'all.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Want to make sure I didn't, because we recorded something a little while ago and I did not get you to it all.
So we literally aren't on that recording?
No, well, you are. You're just like down the street.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just say, Daybreakers was awesome.
But let's talk about the movies that were of 2009.
Because 2009 has come and gone.
Yes,
brother.
at this point, we're on, what is this, like, this is, tomorrow will be New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're practically out of 2009, and everybody wants to know what our top 10 best of and worst of are.
Well,
so,
not everybody. Your mom, let's be honest.
No, she wants to know. Every time I go home to wake up, she's like, hey, baby, what's your top 10 movies?
Why you always gonna go to the mom joke, man?
Because his mom, I'm totally, never mind.
Hot for her now that she's single?
My relationship with Corey's mom is our business, not you guys.
As long as I don't have to call you daddy.
Mrs. Coleman.
Now, my top 10 is probably going to be different for both this list because I don't have mine in a particular order. I mean, you know,
we don't even have to read through the 10. We just talk about some of the best movies of the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say what I thought were some of the best and worst of. And if you guys want to go, like, just down the list and say, we can start with you, Carl.
We can just name stuff that's off our lists and take a movie at a time and just circle until we feel like we're done.
Yeah,
let me start with my number 10 and let's see if it's on anybody else's
here's
top 10.
Here's what I like to do so that we won't have to be here till 5 a.m. Why don't you just like say what your top 10 are, and then we can like talk about it after you're done. Like let's start with the top 10 best.
Look at the guy who doesn't have it written down. Everybody else has notes in front of them. I'm like the guy who.
Yeah, but you're the guy who writes about it every day.
Yeah.
So if it's not fresh in your mind, I don't know whose it would be in.
All right. So my number 10 film is up in the air. My number 9, I went out on a limb and did something most others didn't. I had Taking Woodstock. I love Taking Woodstock. Number 8, Up. Number 7, The Road. Number 6, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Number 5 is, this is where I'm going to run into problems. I forget. Okay, so
no, you know what, dude, don't be embarrassed because that happens.
No, yeah, it'll come to me in a moment. But
Star Trek.
We've got Star Trek's in there, and I think Star Trek's 4. Avatar is number 3. Fish Story is number 2, and District 9 is number 1, leaving one film that I really love that I cannot
500 Days of Summer?
The Hangover.
No.
The Messenger.
Zombieland.
No.
Area 51.
No.
Ride Wars.
It'll no, I already did Up.
There's one shitty movie that everybody hates that you love, so that's why I'm putting all the shitty ones
No, not at all. None of my top 10 lists. No, it's
Transformers 2. He loves Michael Bay. Come on.
I know.
Like that one. Nobody liked
Michael Bay's home movies.
You know what? We'll go on, and you guys will hit your lists, and then it'll be, that was my number 5 film. So.
Well, you know, that's I knew you'd have a movie in there and nobody would know. And a lot of people probably don't know about one of the movies that you just named, which is Fish Story.
Star Trek, yeah. No. Nobody's seen Star Trek.
No, Fish Story.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Oh, wait.
Like
number 5
ago.
is Moon.
Oh, Moon. That's right.
Yeah,
Moon.
right.
You did
So
love
yes, Fish Story is the one that Pete was on my list. It was really running neck and neck for number 1 there. I've seen Fish Story more than any other film this year. This is a film that played at Fantastic Fest. It's a Japanese film. It's really fucking awesome. It takes place in the year 2012. A comet is about to wipe out the planet. And this guy is wandering the streets and sees a record store open, wanders in the record store to find out why it's still open on the last day of Earth. And there's a guy and a customer in there just going about their business as if it's a normal day. And the guy in there who runs the store believes that this obscure punk song from 1975 is going to save the planet in some way, shape, or form.
Like I said, one
Cyrus, right?
Yeah, like I said, you like one shitty movie that everybody else hates. I'm fucking goddamn. Look at he's like, what?
I know this is my best foreign language film.
He's ready to jump over the microphone.
No, this movie's fucking awesome. What then happens is we go through 5 different periods of time and seeing how this punk song might or might not save the Earth from destruction by a comet, and it's just such a wonderful feel-good movie that's really funny and really heartfelt at the same time. It's like watching a Kurt Vonnegut novel. It doesn't seem to make any sense until the last 2 minutes when you're just like, oh, fuck me. And then it's so awesome. You put all the pieces together. I've seen it 6 times now. I love this film so much.
Is Jack Black in this movie?
No.
He's always talking about, saving the world with the power of rock.
Although that would have been a great cameo, and I'm sure if they make an American version, he'll be in it. But no, yeah, you're right. And what I like about it is, unlike a lot of films that choose the non-linear, here's a bunch of different stories that all tie together, it kind of establishes in the beginning, it lets you know this is all going to come together, because right off the bat, somehow this song saves the world. And you're like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. As the film goes together with all these just separate stories taking place over decades, it starts to piece together. And thankfully, the film, you don't require it, but at the very end, the film does give you a play-by-play, okay, this is the important events that happen in this film in order and how they all lead up to the song, in fact, saving the world from destruction.
And the song kicks ass.
The song is so good, they really need to issue as a single. I want to own it.
I found it on YouTube.
Give it to
me. In HD. I'll send you the link because about once a day I have to throw that on and my wife will come in and be, listen to the Fish Story again.
So if a comet is actually about to hit the Earth, this song will save the world.
Just in the context of this film.
2032 is when that comet is supposed to hit. Unless the Russians can knock it out of orbit.
Shh, Roland Emmerich might hear you.
Now what's funny is I'd seen its Japanese name several times and I'd never actually really focused on it, trying to understand what the words are, but literally the Japanese name is Fishu Satori.
So if you actually translate this
song, if
you
say it fast, Fishu Satori.
It sounds like Fish
Story. It's such a wonderful film,
and you can't find it anywhere. Sorry
not
for
right
bringing
now.
it up, guys.
It's about to be issued in Japan, so you can get it as an import.
Well, okay.
So what's your top 10?
Oh, are we on there? Okay,
yeah.
We're on to me. All right. Mine is not quite as doesn't have a ringer like that, I suppose, or maybe it does. And just like you, I agree. It's really hard to narrow down to these are the positions.
I just stopped numbering them, man.
It's like, you know what? Okay, I did it for the purpose of some people who needed me to, but I'm just going to read them out. In the Loop, which is a really fun.
I still gotta watch that.
Yeah, British political satire. It's actually a prequel to a TV show called The Thick of It, but it's genius. It's the West Wing with a potty mouth. It's awesome. Zombieland. Come on, that was great. Now, here's the one I'll be the only one in the room to have on my list is Crank High Voltage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are the only one.
When I was just going through my list, it was like, hey, the movies I had the most fun with, that I loved the most, and it really was. That was just so much fun.
Yeah, I fell asleep on that one.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 500 Days of Summer, District 9, Avatar, Star Trek, Up in the Air, and Up.
Because we couldn't figure out which Up to put in the number.
Up in the Air, 9 or 9.
That was funny because when you said Up in the Air for your number 10 and then you went to Up for number 8, I was like, didn't you name that one already? I was like, oh, no, In the Air.
Yeah.
All right.
See, ours are actually kind of inverse there because he put District 9 at 5, which I think is a sacrilege. And I've seen in the Loop, and I really didn't like it. I could see why it would be on a top 10 list because the people who would like it really like it. I just didn't. But
what do you mean, you people? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Honkies.
Morons.
Hipsters.
I know what he meant.
No, it's a very mean-spirited dark comedy.
Yeah,
and you say like The West Wing, but it doesn't have the heart that The West Wing does. I think Leon's going to dig the shit out of
You're
it.
speaking my language over here.
No, it is. It's and it's more accurate in many ways than The West Wing as far as what the world is really like, and that's what I love about it.
There are no likable characters in the movie. There's one guy you kind of like throughout the movie, and he proves to be a total shitheel in the final scene of the movie.
Well, is this In the Loop?
Yeah, I can't say you don't like the characters. You wouldn't like them if you met in real life, but you like them the way you like that we like the guys on Seinfeld.
But that's what I'm talking about. You like them in the fact that they're unlikable and you're attracted to the humor of that.
Funny.
You guys have made me want to watch the movie because I've been carrying the movie around with me everywhere I go, and I haven't had time to put it in my computer and watch it.
It's worth watching. I didn't like it, but it is that mean-spirited comedy. Because that really lost me because I was like, at least we like James Gandolfini, and then the final scene of the movie, he's just such a dick.
No, there's nobody who's a good person.
Sometimes those movies annoy me too, where you just don't like anybody. So I don't know if I'd like that.
No, this is fast talking, really funny, really clever dialogue.
You won't understand the foreign language that it's in.
Oh, man, come on.
It's in British. He doesn't speak British.
He does now. He went over there. He had to get.
He had a translation dictionary.
He knows to stick U's in some of in between the O and the R's.
I'm sure y'all understand. Fuck y'all too. So.
That's Texan.
No, that's worldwide right there.
Yeah, no, once you put y'all in it, that's more Texan.
That transfers anywhere though.
Yeah, it does.
Gets the point
Shit,
across.
when you hear that fuck coming at you, you know what's happening. What's your top 10?
All right. Well,
He's actually gone with the top 100.
when
this
you go
year.
third,
No,
you
shit.
just name
Yeah, we were-
a bunch of movies everybody's already named. It's funny because this is a year. Because Cyrus, you were saying like, oh, this is a shitty year for movies. I don't think so. To me, there's been like a plethora of movies that I've liked a lot, but there hasn't been any movies that just stand out as like, this is the Oscar movie. This is the great epic.
I would
of
like
this
to
year.
qualify that statement and say I said it was a shitty year for Oscar films.
Okay, fair enough.
And
Yes, you're right
that's
about
true.
That is
Because
absolutely true.
If you look, my list, 5 of my 10 are science fiction and 2 are animated.
Oh, it's been a great year for science fiction.
But we've always done that. We've never tried to go like, what is the politically correct way to do
No,
these
I'm
these
just
top
saying
10
that
lists.
this
We've always
year-
chose animated films and science
You're
fiction
right.
films.
It's like I'm trying to qualify. I mean,
Yeah,
apologize for my
make
picks.
your list.
Hey,
Shit,
these are my favorite movies of the year. Working backwards, and like you guys, I only numbered them because some people need that.
Okay, little drinking game at home. Take a shot anytime there's a Batman involved in any of these
I know
films.
Batman came out last year. That's still his favorite movie for this year.
Oh, like I'm the only one who says Dark Knight. Still, they re-released Dark Knight this year.
So technically,
So it made it to his
let me
list.
wait a minute. Let me rework my list then. Hey, can you have me a beer, please?
All right, just kind of working backwards. I'm gonna go start with number 10, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Taking Woodstock, The Informant, Zombieland, District 9, The Hurt Locker, 500 Days of Summer, The Messenger, which really, like the top 3 films, all that they change back and forth between my favorite films.
So your top like 3
My top three-
are the top 3 for you.
Yes, yeah. And that's Star Trek, Sherlock Holmes, and The Messenger. And every day I change my mind on which one I think is my favorite.
Okay.
Really,
And-
Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, absolutely Sherlock Holmes. I mean, watching it again, I was like, wow, I absolutely love how smart this movie is, the great pace it has. I love Star Trek Sherlock Holmes for all the same reasons I love Star Trek. It's just a great property I grew up with and loved and could so easily have been fucked up, but they got great actors to play these roles. It move at a great pace. They're both funny and they're really rewatchable, and you watch them and go like, wow. There's so many smart decisions that go on in here. I get something new every time I watch it.
You know something? Let me just say, man, there's been a lot of criticism towards Sherlock Holmes, and I just got to go with what I said when I walked out the movie. I was like, you know what? This is one of the most entertaining movies I've seen this year. I don't care how many people say it's bad or cops out or why was this scene in there. I mean, I had some people
It
actually
does
come
cop
in.
out.
Well, see, I
totally don't think it did.
I don't think it did either.
I don't see where you're saying it cops.
And a
I've
lot of
heard
people
your-
said that. A lot of people even said, like, why was that fight scene in the movie? And I'm like, I'm not a big Sherlock Holmes aficionado. Even I can understand why they did certain things in that
It's so
film.
contextual why the fight scenes are in that film that it leads to that whole understanding of Sherlock Holmes, the way he thinks, the way his mind works. It's a whole new way of showing how brilliant he is.
And there's nothing wrong with taking. Look, we do revisionists and reboots and all this shit with characters that have been classic characters before, and that's what they did with Sherlock Holmes. And they're one of the few movies to actually take a series like this and make it that entertaining.
I was going to say there's a movie where called The 7% Solution, which is a Sherlock Holmes film that totally reverts the whole idea where Watson is really the genius behind everything. Sherlock Holmes is this total fucked up addict to the point that Moriarty is actually a friend of his. Just he's so fucked up in his head, he's made up this fantasy that he's his evil nemesis.
Then
And
there's
it's
also Without a
brilliant
Clue, where with Michael Caine plays
Yep.
the drunk Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, there's a number of
Yeah.
different versions that have been well accepted over the
That's what I was
years.
about to say. Wasn't
So-
that Without a Clue? Because that's the movie I remember.
No, that's
like
a different
that.
one. Yeah. But there's this is what. So we've got another one, and so what's the problem, people? They changed some things, and yet the spirit of Sherlock Holmes is most definitely there.
It's. I mean, like I said, it's like Star Trek where it's so there. And like we come back to the fighting. It's like, yeah, that's showing just how well he can handle himself and how analytical he is. And it's funny to me how many people are like, well, how come you didn't mention Inglourious Bastards? I'm like, are you serious? You're gonna call Sherlock Holmes a cop out when Inglourious Bastards had the biggest cop out ending of all time?
Yeah. No, I like the way these lists are going because we've taken movies along the lines of Sherlock Holmes, but one thing that's been mentioned, I think. among all of you now is Taking Woodstock, which is a movie that we all think was like a very sad failure this year because it got critically panned by some people, and it didn't do that well at the box office. And I thought it was a really great movie.
It was on my runners-up. I didn't put it in my top 10, but yeah, it's a great movie. I wish more people would go back and give it a chance.
Get over the idea that you're not going to see Jimi Hendrix in the movie.
Yeah,
it's not what the movie's about.
No, there are a lot of movies about. In fact, you can just watch Woodstock. They have that movie where you can see that. Why would you need?
But why would they call it Taking Woodstock if they're not going to show
There's a lot of
Woodstock?
people who go into movies with a preconceived notion of what a movie should be about, and they judge it against that rather than letting it be what it is about.
And I think, and all of you are right. Taking Woodstock was one of those films where people came in with preconceived notions and they held it against that movie. And I actually thought that critics would have liked this movie more because it was directed by Ang Lee, who is usually a critic's favorite, especially after something like Brokeback Mountain. But the movie choosing to show the less glamorous behind-the-scenes aspects of Woodstock and not the music just seemed to rub audiences and critics the wrong way. God damn it, I'll dress up like Jimi Hendrix and show up at your house and play air guitar. The movie's playing.
Well, but you'll do that anyway.
You do that a lot.
On the bright side, Taking Woodstock doesn't cop out in the last 15 minutes like Sherlock Holmes.
See, I didn't at all.
Don't think that movie copped out?
Dying to throw this gauntlet down. How does Sherlock Holmes cop out?
You've heard this argument, the Michael Bay argument, coming from the guy
the
who
Bruckheimer
liked
argument.
Explosion
or
in it?
Bruckheimer argument. Okay.
Well, it's not that there's an explosion. It's that there's an explosion that leads to a chase that leads to them having to dismantle a Victorian-era weapon of mass destruction, which leads to this big fight out atop a bridge with spinning cameras. And all at that point, we've lost all sense of mystery or the Sherlock Holmes. It's turned into an action movie.
It is. You know what? To me, it was an action movie to me the whole time.
What's wrong with that? Everybody watches and loves action movies. I get some people saying like, I fell asleep in the first 30 minutes. Now you saying like, oh, there's too much action in the last 30
No,
minutes.
it's all organic to the story too, and you watch the story come to its
And you know what?
Organic.
And I went in thinking that Sherlock Holmes was a very smart action film. I thought that they brought Sherlock Holmes into the genre of an action film.
Except that they did that up until, and I like the film. I just have a problem with the last 15 minutes. And I have a problem with the last 15 minutes because it loses, we no longer have that great chemistry between the characters because they're not really together anymore. We kind of break apart the characters in that final segment, and we fall into all the classic tropes of generic action. There is not a clever ending. There isn't a clever thing going on, and we don't get the thing is yes, people like action films, but when I want to watch a Bruckheimer action film, I go to a Bruckheimer action film. When I want to watch Victorian era mystery with good acting, then I go to a Sherlock Holmes film.
This is not Victorian era mystery. You're looking at the wrong thing.
You're putting, like he said, like Leon said earlier, you're putting your expectations on top of something that the movie was never trying to be at all.
No, it wasn't. But the thing is the movie isn't its own thing separately. The movie is a Sherlock Holmes movie, and it gave me a Sherlock Holmes movie for the first hour and 45 minutes.
After like three action set pieces in the movie, why did it not become an action film to you?
Yeah.
When there was still a lot of plot and mystery involved, and it didn't devolve. It really lost me when we start dismantling a weapon of mass destruction.
It wasn't a weapon of mass destruction. It was killing one room.
That's like a 2-minute scene of dismantling.
And let me just say this too: the movie had a chance to have one of the biggest cop-outs, and it did not go that.
No, that's absolutely. You are absolutely correct. And I don't hate the movie. I don't dislike the movie. I have a problem with the last 15 minutes.
We got him like against the wall. What's your fucking problem? He's like, I didn't hate the movie, please.
I didn't. Well, because you guys, it's becoming that point. I've become the target of all your rage for every motherfucker on Spill that hates the movie. You're like, oh, we finally got one of you motherfuckers in the room. It's like, whoa. I just don't think the last.
I know he's like
there are a lot of people.
He's like on the ceiling right now. We're down there with pitchforks and torches.
Was there a lot of people on Spill who didn't like the movie?
There's a few people who came on, and that's where I got that comment.
Is MDS one of them?
I don't remember.
You can't tell which side he's going to fall on.
You know what? It's Yehudi.
I was going to say, Yehudi's the one that came on.
Like what's her name? Kat or Kahady? I just call him Kahudi. The two together. But they're the ones like, I thought the explosions were mindless. And I'm like, wait, what? It's like there's not even like a whole lot. It's like one scene with explosions, and it's like you guys praise this, but you said nothing about Inglourious Bastards, and I'm like,
because Godard shot brilliant explosions.
Well, just like wait, so you sat through it sounded like they sat through this whole movie waiting for an explosion. Like, oh, sooner or later there's going to be an explosion, then I'm going to talk.
When they
like
say
you wouldn't believe.
The more I listened to, the more I read what they were writing, it's like, okay, you came in with your idea of what a Sherlock Holmes movie should be. and it wasn't that. And from there, it was like, humph.
That's exactly what it was, because Yudi was the one that said, why did they have that fight scene in there? I was like, to show how observant he was.
The biggest, most loyal Sherlock Holmes fan I've ever met in my life is our friend Bo.
Yeah.
He rereads them all, the complete original Arthur Conan Doyle stories, once a year. He makes a ritual out of it, and he loved that movie. He came out of it going, no, it's a great new take on Holmes.
But as much as I defend the movie, it was hurt heavily, very heavily, by a very weak performance by Rachel McAdams, and the script is close to being a simple run-of-the-mill action flick, although I did enjoy it very much. But did it make my top 10?
Probably not if you phrase it that way.
Holding out because everyone's waiting.
You'd be surprised.
Everyone's waiting.
I know.
It's like, can you get through the douchebags and just get to Corey? Nobody cares what these guys are.
There's only
Don't
one
worry,
person.
our top 10 lists are going to be edited
I know.
out of this. It's going to be like old school. Remember when we all submitted our top 10 lists and then we do Corey's top 10 list? And he'd occasionally mention, hey, some of your picks were in there.
Hey,
Soon all the reviews are going to be just like the Daybreakers one, where it's like, hey, you can kind of hear the other guys in the background.
I mentioned the top 10. That's what you guys said, right? All right, so my top 10 is I'm gonna start at the bottom, but again, this is not in any kind of order. All right, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Rudo e Cursi, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Star Trek, The Hangover, The Messenger, District 9, Up, Hurt Locker, and Precious. Now, I will say that when you get into that 5 and up range, that's where it is kind of in that order. It's like, because I have to say, like, Precious is a movie. It's been getting recognized by the Golden Globes, and I'm wondering if it's going to be recognized by the Academy Awards this year.
Honestly, I just haven't seen it yet.
Well, with 10 movies being listed, you never know.
Well, it's the problem is that it's one of those divisive movies that people either really love it or really hate it. It's not a movie where people are walking out going, I love it. Really? I didn't think it was that great. It was good, but no, you're getting really divisive people. You're getting people who think it's racist. You're getting people who there's a lot of discourse in Hollywood.
And I can see what you're saying. That's why I'm thinking like, I would have originally thought like this would be a movie that would be best suited for the best screenplay category, but this is from like a novel by Sapphire.
Well, there was a Twitter storm, a term I fucking can't stand, but that's what they're saying today on the internet about Moon. Because
is that the new term for circle jerk?
Yeah, right. Where Moon, they didn't send out a screener because of things that were beyond their help. They wanted to, they didn't.
Because that might have made my top
because
10.
they didn't think it was going to be recognized by the critics.
Right, and the idea was that they're saying, look, it's not, a lot of these Academy voters didn't even see it because screeners weren't sent out.
Right.
They weren't for Precious
either.
But
see, I don't know how much it matters if screeners were sent out or not, because Lee Daniels, the director, made a huge impact with this movie on critics and audiences alike. Not only do I think it's one of the boldest films this year, but it has some of the best performances this year. People were surprised by Mariah Carey and Lenny Kravitz. Everyone is saying that this newcomer, what's her name, Gabourey Sidibe, is amazing. And if you ask me, she should be considered for a Best Actress nomination by the Academy Awards. And I'm going to go out